is how you clear it or heal it. This is how you do it. That's the vertical plane. Coming into your own personal power. See, even recognizing that you have that potential opens channels for you so you'll start listening, responding, making right choice, stepping back out of the frontal lobes, back into your spirit center, back further into the psychic center for your answers, and not reaching out into this lateral plane where it's pretty much chaos. Oh, I should say, too,
I was muted.
In addition to that, create your own reality by focusing on it. Send it through the 0 point into the future and listen for the response. When you get a positive response, it's just kind of like a glow that comes back to you. You know that you've implanted those standing waves into the future so that as the waves pass away, that will materialize in your life. And that positive response, reaching up and down for the creative form, sending it outward in the lateral form through the 0 point in the heart, is how we manifest. And that's how you protect yourself. Manifest your good, positive reality. Hold to it. Make right choices at every opportunity, because you'll be tested every way possible. And we should thank the opposition force for being our tester, but that doesn't mean we have to participate in it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the participation here, the opposition. You know, we have a world where we come in with this hierarchical structure, and because that's the underpinning foundation to us, so many people fall victim to this hierarchical structure, when in fact we're all equal beings on a universal and a galactic level. And coming into that basic remedy and resolve with the hierarchical structure and the Babylonian business ideologies that have structured our history. As we begin to move away from hierarchical structures, we come into unity with the earth mind. And in unity with the earth mind, we create a symbiotic living relationship with our planet. And there will be no need for, exchange for value systems that have 10 million lines of code in it, because people will know at the very basic if someone's trying to scam you or not, if they are in that symbiotic relationship in their heart with Earth and the galactic centers.
Mm-hmm. I think one important thing that we need to teach first and foremost is the difference between domination and dominion. Once people get that concept, then they realize they stand right in the middle, and it's their choice to create their reality. And this is why every time I do a show or talk to anyone, I'm talking about dominion. Understand what it means. It's all in the Bible and in other great teachers and other ways of expressing it, but that one word, dominion, it sets up the frequencies that is the attractive force from God force consciousness, which wants to evolve and enjoy all things possible. And that sets that in everyone's mind. So I'd like to encourage everyone to think about domination and dominion. Domination being all the bad, negative stuff, potential that people can do and do, but even unconsciously, because they don't know that's just a learning lesson for them. And think about the difference between domination and dominion, where everything wonderful is positive, including all of our psychic gifts and abilities, and be able to live 1,000 years or 10,000 as we choose, and keep our body, or evolve on into higher levels. I have people in my group that actually devolved down into this group to help teach these principles and processes right here. And so I can guarantee you it's possible to do this. But when they came into my group, they knew no more than you did. They'd studied a lot of this lateral plane stuff that's out there. But internalizing it, using it, reinforcing it, practicing it is what allows you to move up the evolutionary scale.
one more thing. We have a friend of the station, Michael McCracken. He's been a host here, and I hosted a show with him. And he's had a series of heart attacks over the year. Do you think we can do a healing for him? He just went back into the hospital after having his entire rib cage cracked open to work on his heart again.
Certainly. All right, now we need to drop into our healing stages. So take your awareness up into the center of your forehead and drop back, just picking up as you pass through the soul, your soul memories of what we're doing, on back to the psychic center, unifying our group intent to heal Mike McCracken and his heart. Now, clairsentiently, as you do this, be a little bit careful because Mike has some things, some fields around his heart we're going to clear before we do anything. This is always a caution I have. Is I use a dowsing instrument to check before I go into anyone so I don't pick something up out of them. Negative creatures, life forms, love for us to get an illness or an operation or a shock or trauma. Because it breaks our protective fields down and they can come in. And they come right out of the domination force, and their job is to screw us up, and they do mightily. Just tuning lightly into Michael, I see now what his problem is. He's been invaded so often. Ooh, don't go too deep, it hurts. All right. I'm going to go to Michael's oversoul. All right. All right, in communication with his oversoul, I get the impression that in the past he has had emotional trauma and things that set up the patterns, set up the breakdown of his physical forms. And one of the things that happened then is he invited in a very specific kind of life force cross-dimensionally. That's what happens when you go out in operations and things like that. And this thing is a creature of negative polarity. This particular species of being, I call them the anagens. This is one that most healers can't heal. You put healing energy, which is positive energy, on it, they just suck it up and grow more. But the way we defeat this thing is putting negative polarity energy on these anagens, and that repels them, just like a negative on a magnet repels negative on another magnet. It's just energy fields. Now, for you to see, this has to be a training lesson for you. I don't do anything that isn't a training lesson for you healers. The way you heal a person who seemingly can't be healed any other way, they just inflammation just eats them up, like rheumatoid arthritis, for example. What you do is simply tune into them and rotate your body to the left. And you do this psychically. You don't actually move your body. You just spin yourself to the left. And then as you do that, you go clairsentially into the person, as we are in Michael right now. Spinning to the left, spinning. With our intent is to blow out the anagen forces that keep breaking down his cysts and causing any such pain. Here we go. And you'll feel his heart respond. We're in the 0 point. Now we reach back in time to when we clear back in time. We clear all the causative factors that created the dis-ease, all the way back in time to when he had a pure and perfect heart. Man, I'm going all the way back to about 18 years old. Now we feel that pure and perfect standing wave Bring it into yourself. And in our group mind, we move the pure and perfect form, pure and perfect heart, forward in time through the standing ways to Michael McCracken in his bed in the hospital. That's why we have to know where they're at. And we feel his heart respond. We've already cleared the negativity, the antigens. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see this heart in the perfect and normal condition. And we project this from the 0 point into the future. Now, Michael, please clear and free your fear of death. Death is not to be feared. It's to be... well, what is the word? Not manipulated necessarily, but it's to be developed, because it's ultimate, but it can be next hour, next year, or 1,000 years, or 10,000 years, as you dictate. So we choose not to exit at this time. We take you forward in time to when you had normally died without the patterning of the negative forces in you. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Michael now and in the future in the pure and perfect form. Now, you'll notice we spent more time on this than we do on the radio shows, because those who are listening to the radio shows, the Sunday night shows, already have been taught how to drop right into here. But in this stage is where everyone out there, now not only Michael got healed, there are hundreds of thousands out there in the listening audience that chose to be healed at the same time also. Now I want to extend a little more energy, heart energy out to them. I'm being shown that please accept this as being your right and normal condition to have a pure and perfect heart. Through the power of the Christ within us, through the resonance of the Christ within us, we are all one. Now, another note I'd like to make is that Jesus Christ was one of the Christed ones that walked the earth as teachers, and there are many of us here now. And that's why when we appeal to the power of the Christ within us, we're reaching into that inner Christ that is our bit of spirit and manifester as we reach outward. And that's why I say that little mantra when I do these healings, is it focuses everything that needs to be done in the simplest way possible. When you make an affirmation of any kind, the fewer words you use, the better, because the subconscious mind only knows two things: what do you want and what do you want to do with it. If you say, pain, go, that's a healing.
Beautiful. You're an absolutely beautiful soul, Frank. Thank you for being here at this time, in this space, being who you are, following your heart, connected with your galactic and universal guides. Thank you very much. Thank you for surviving this lifetime. And you yourself had a heart attack just some time ago. And, we have to stand together. We're at this point where we need to stand arm to arm and say, let's share our space, let's share our hearts, and get reconnected with this planet.
Thank you.
Would you like to stick around for the next roundtable, or you need to take some time off?
No, I'm here. I'm fine.
Okay.
I think my members of my group would like to share what they've
Sure.
experienced in the last couple of years.
This is all about sharing. So why don't we introduce who you want to introduce here?
Okay, well, we have a wonderful person with us who was actually a Christian minister for 14 years, and he just got so fed up because things didn't work. He was a good healer, but he got very disillusioned, and about the time he met me, and very quickly I showed him the positive side of what he was preaching and teaching. And he's becoming a wonderful healer now. He's over in Hawaii. Rich, can you come forth?
Aloha. Thank you,
Hey,
Frank.
Rich.
before you start, what is the name of your book and how can we get a hold of it?
The book's name is Subtle Energy and the World We Experience, and it's on Amazon. You can order it through Amazon. It'll be in Barnes & Noble probably within the next couple of weeks, but it just came out 4 days ago. A good tie-in with this book is this whole concept of group consciousness and how we've been using group consciousness to heal the world, to heal this gentleman we just worked on, and thousands of other people. And the primary focus of the book is to teach people how to deprogram themselves from group consciousness that no longer serves their best interests. And being involved with the Christian ministry for 25 years and being born with psychic abilities, knowing how to lay hands on people and heal them, I didn't understand any of this. I didn't understand how it could happen, why it happened, and it was through a long process of experiencing all kinds of interesting things through the religious experience that kind of led me away from the dependency of a higher being doing something for me to actually learning what is involved with healing. And because healing is kind of like the primary focus of, well, if God exists, then show me he does and heal me. And if you heal me, then I'll believe. So when I was in India on missionary trips, I would go into villages and lay hands on people and people would be healed. I went into a hospital, prayed for 50 nuns one day and they got healed. And I still couldn't figure out how this benevolent God would heal people when they didn't know anything about Jesus. And they were all Hindus. And it kind of got my wheels spinning. And then through these visions, it's like you can't sleep for 3 days and you've been in this foreign country and at night all you see are visions of how benevolent this spirit is towards humanity, and here you are laying hands on people when you don't even understand why you can walk because you haven't slept in 2 days, but then all this energy comes through you. So that kind of got the wheels spinning for me. Going back to group consciousness though, we learned that we all understand that everything's formed through our ideas, and everything we do is based on group consciousness. So we have all these different really interesting aspects in our world, this third dimension we live in, such as, let's take religion. Those are all based on group consciousness. Why do we have so many religions? I used to think, one of them, everybody says they're right. Well, we got the right religion, you don't. So that was really puzzling until we really got down to understanding what subtle energy is and how it works and how we can manifest healing through understanding how to use subtle energy. And then that's what we were doing today. We were bringing the positive and negative polarity into our spirit center, our heart chakra, and manifesting our intent into whatever reality we chose to do. So learning how to do that, then we realized that this energy that we use, where does it come from? Well, I call it the prime creator. Frank calls it the God force. You can call it Jesus, or you can call it anything you want, but basically it's this subtle energy that's coming in from the universe, and it's tied to our spirit center. And then we have all this other energy from Gaia, the negative polarity, that we can pull up. And then we have all this positive energy, Oversoul gathers from the Angel's Galactic Center, whatever you want to call that. But we use energy. And this is a fascinating thing for me. Right now, I'm studying crossing souls over. One of the reasons why I came here to Maui was on a spiritual side of it. I was led here to learn about the afterlife, I've crossed over probably 5,000 souls since I've been here. And I'm learning what I've learned to do is ask questions. So one of the main things that we learn when we are meditating is, and I like what Frank teaches about this, when we go into our psychic center, we go up through our crown chakra, we go up into the higher dimensions, and we listen. We ask for instruction, and then we listen. And we're given information. And then we have something to use. So it's kind of like I use that same principle when I channel with these spirits, because we have high souls and we have low souls. And in my book I talk about the difference between the high and the low soul. The low soul is tied to earth mind, and it's a carryover of our DNA and our cellular structure that's been programmed for all these years as we evolved as a Homo erectus, Homo sapien, who we are today. And then we got the higher consciousness that comes in from a different place, and they merge together to experience what we call the third dimension of reality. So as I talk to these souls, there's high souls and there's low souls, and they all have a different consciousness based upon their experience of why they came to Earth. Now, I started back in the 1100s, and I'm up to 1970 now in Maui, talking to different soul groups that are crossing over. They want to cross over. They've been suspended in different energy fields of consciousness, and it's amazing. I'll give you the last two that I did was, these were high souls. These are really highly evolved Hawaiian souls. And the last group I did was 60 souls, and they had all been Hawaiian priests, priestesses, kahunas. They were very, very highly evolved souls. And after they died from about, I think it was 1870 to 1970, about 100 years, these souls, they hung around. See, high souls could go anywhere they want after they die. They don't have to cross over if they don't want to. They can still hang around. Lots of times they'll come and visit their relatives before they cross, and after they cross over into higher dimensions, they have the ability to come back if they want. And they can visit you. Your relatives can come and visit you if you know how to tap into their consciousness. So the last group I did was really spiritual kahunas, and they all said they wanted to come back and work not in Hawaii anymore. They wanted to try some other geographical area and help the evolution of man's consciousness. And I thought that was really nice that they'd want to come back and channel with some of you out there and teach you what they know. So that was one group. And then another group I just crossed over was 1,100 souls. And they were kind of like the last generation here in Maui that practice what they call pono. Pono is dominion. Just an Hawaiian term for it. Let's all get together, live together in harmony, help each other out, and make the best of it. So that's what they were doing. And they really had a struggle because of all the immigrants that came in and all the domination that came over to these islands, and how the wealthy people took all the land away from the Hawaiian people and created a bunch of corporations, and it's been quite a challenge for the Hawaiian people to exist here. But this group of high souls, they decided they'd had enough. They don't want to come back anymore. And that's their choice. They were highly evolved. And they said, we can't find Pono on Earth. We don't know where we could go to find peace. And I thought, well, that's really a sad commentary. But here we are in our meditation groups. We're meditating, trying to create this dominion. And they're saying, we're gonna leave, and we'll evaluate whether we want to come back in the future or not, because Earth is so messed up right now that until we get dominion here, we really don't want to come back and have to deal with the third plane reality. So it's quite interesting to see that, that's why we really need to be working hard at this dominion concept, because, and I don't think we're that far away. We just need to change the consciousness of these world rulers so they'll start sharing the wealth instead of just keeping it for themselves. But what I'm finding about learning and is quite fascinating about souls. And the low soul is just absolutely different, because they're tied to the earth mind consciousness. And they don't travel like the high souls do. They're kind of confined to a geographical area in which they die. And that's why when you go in, you see all these movie programs. I've gone into homes that were, they have spirits and ghosts, and well, those are low souls that are tied to that particular area, and a lot of them are creating activity because they want to cross back into their soul group and earth mind. What we call the Akashic Records, where they could go back and they could figure out what their next step is, whether they want to incarnate again into another human. So, I crossed over, 1,200 souls of King Kamehameha's army up in this valley, which I do gardening work in. They were quite completely different. Their consciousness was based upon survival. It's not really good or bad. It's just really what they had to do. They had to follow directions, and they had to win a battle for their king. So when I questioned them about, well, do you know that you just killed 1,100 people over here, and I just crossed their souls over, and they all had children and wives, and they said, yeah, but that's what we were told to do. That's what we're going to do. That's what we did. And so it's a whole different consciousness group. And that's why people don't understand that when mankind operates on their low chakra system, their low root chakra, sacral, and even the solar plex ego, man's capable of doing all kinds of evil things without even having a conscience. And that's why it's so important for us to educate people on the fact that we do have the choice. We can operate in the higher realms of consciousness. Because if we don't, we're going to continue this mode of operation on Earth right now that's, well, let's get our guns and go out and shoot everybody because this is what I want. And that's that low soul, primitive, instinctive consciousness that we've been programmed through thousands and thousands of years of survival. Well, we need some of that to survive, but we can still use our instinctive survival instincts and work in harmony with each other. And one of the fascinating things about living here on this little island is there's been all kinds of battles fought over water here. And it all came back to survival. One group had the water and they didn't want to share, so the other group came in and took them over, and it was a constant battle between, survival, because they would not learn. Some groups did. I mean, some groups did learn to share, and I commend them for it, but other groups didn't. So when I'm working with these souls, I've been documenting their stories, and quite interesting. One of the things that I found that you might find interesting is I take pictures of orbs, and I have a book I'm collecting full of pictures, which I'm going to put in another book in the future whenever that comes to finished, but that's a lot of work yet for me to do. But what I'm learning is I'm learning to identify souls by the color of their orbs. So any of you out there that have a camera with a flash on it, you can go out at night and take some pictures. You'll find that their frequencies are a little bit, just a little bit higher than what we can see with the natural eye. Actually, cell phones work really well with flashes too. And you can catch these orbs. And when I cross souls over, I always ask them to manifest their energy for me in whatever shape or form they can. and I'm getting some very interesting colors of orbs and all kinds of stuff. And I found that the greens and the blues are the low souls, and the red or really bright red ones are the high souls. So then we have clear souls. This is where the alien connection comes in, because when you do clearing work, like when you're clearing entities from people, I douse, like Frank taught me how to douse, which saved my life. One time I was working on a lady that had cancer, brain cancer, over here, and I healed her. But then I was sick for a week and a half, and I couldn't figure out why until I realized I picked up her negative energy. And then I learned how to clear that out. So some of you energy workers have experienced these, I call them EPs. They're like alien probes of white light. And they come in, we call them cross-dimensional non-human entities. And they come in to people's auras, and they actually just kind of mess them up, because the energy field that they have is not compatible with our chakra system. So they kind of like short circuit our chakra system, which creates a lot of these ailments: chronic migraine headaches, chronic fatigue syndrome. Doctors can't figure out what that is. Well, when you have a system that's been overloaded with different types of energy, which doesn't allow the chakra system to operate correctly, what are you going to end up with? A sick person. So when you take that entity out of those people, and the Galactic Center is the one that's taught me how to do it. I create a vortex of energy inside around this energy field, and basically extract it out from underneath up. And they usually don't like to leave, because they're there to gather information. And they kind of look at us as laboratory rats. They don't believe that we have a consciousness that's highly evolved until I take them out. Then they can't believe that somebody actually had the power to do so. So it's really interesting to see that we are evolving to a high enough state where we have a lot of visitors coming around observing us. And so those of you that do this kind of stuff, pay attention to that, because when you go into I douse before I go into someone, because I don't want to pick up that energy, because it'll really mess you up. So some of you energy workers, if you haven't used some method of dowsing, maybe some of you use angels to guide you. Whatever you do, just be aware of what's going on out there, because these energy forms, I don't believe they have a soul. And what they're trying to do is experience what it's like to be in a human that has a soul. And their energy forms are different than ours. So that's just kind of something that I run into, because when I take pictures, I find these white orbs that don't have anything in them. Whereas I find a white orb that has a face in it, then those usually are souls that have crossed over, that are coming back to visit someone. And then I can communicate with them and ask them questions. Who are you? Why are you here? Oh, I'm here to see, I'm here to observe you, because I see you are crossing souls over. So, we find it very fascinating that you can do this. Well, I'm not the only one that's doing this. There's a lot of people that cross souls over. So, if you're one of those workers, I just experiment a little bit more with what you're doing and see if you can learn some more about this. Or maybe if you have information, I'd like to learn from you, because I certainly don't know everything, that's for sure. Once you get out in this universe, you find out you're kind of a babe in the woods. So I would like to share that information with you. That's kind of what I've been doing lately. There's one other thing I'd like to share with you about doing energy work. Are you guys with me?
Still with you. Thank you very much so far, Rich. Andrew had to step away for a minute. This is Tracy Kennedy, everyone. I'm riding shotgun with Andrew today. So it was incredible information because we've been talking about the photon energy and the fact that today we're celebrating the alignment with the dark rift and the energies coming in, and how it was told thousands of years ago that all of a sudden lights would be appearing, frequency would be changing. The frequency of rays hitting us right now are basically giving us a photon shower, even with all the things that we're being sprayed with in the air, which are metals. They should be making our skyline twinkle. It's getting darker. Instead, it's doing the exact opposite of what it should be doing if they hadn't have messed with it. So all of the things we're seeing, and even the beings that are now presenting themselves to us, like you said, made suddenly just say, geez, do you think these things are alive? Because we might have just looked like sacks of meat. And, my listeners have heard me talk about elementals, so absolutely doing great. Please go on.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Talking to coming from that perspective, because the elementals, the Devic spirits, I communicate with them all the time. I work up at a nature center here in Hawaii, and I do a lot of gardening, and I communicate with them. I love them, and they're so wonderful. And they're so different than these galactic orbs that are coming in. And the galactic orbs are really just trying to gather information, but they kind of treat us like we're really nobody. And I think we're starting to wake them up a little bit, because when I extract them, I tell them, I said, you go back to where you came from and let your people, or whoever you want to call yourself, know that, human beings are evolving, and you're interrupting our evolutionary process here. You're not doing us any favors. We really are trying to work this out for ourselves. And we really don't appreciate your interfering with us. I understand your curiosity, but, give us a break, okay? I mean, we're all trying to do this in unconditional love to you. We don't hate you. We're not going to send some beam of energy to destroy you. But at the same token, we would like you to leave us alone so that we can evolve on our own course. Because we're trying to straighten things out here, and you're not helping us any by interfering. Making a bunch of people sick isn't really dominion. But I find they don't really have a consciousness, and they don't really care. They're more just here to gather information. And I'm sure some of you can add a lot more information to that, because, I'm just one person alone out here kind of dealing with this. But you got any feedback on that? Tracy, you got any feedback you'd like to?
As for the entities that are approaching us, and the ones that they're almost crystalline, but not like our crystalline beings. They're clipped and cold, and even in ancient mythologies, and especially the ones in North America, my people here, and the ones from Haiti that were from West Africa, still believe that we would be filled with cold light beings, not our elementals, not our friends and family. Some of them know us, some of them don't. And there's an argument on who thinks those things are alive. But we've been looking at this as a time of cleansing and a time of renewal and purification, if you will. And what they want to do, to be honest, I can only guess. The beings that I have met and have presented themselves to me have not been cruel at all. They've been curious. Some look scary. I have to admit, there's been times that I thought, okay, you know what, I am really scared here. Then I realized whatever it is, I needed to see it. And I still think a lot of things are projections of myself. But when I started allowing beings to come to me and speak to me, animals, plants, other things, orbs that a lot of people have been saying they're seeing, and our ancestors from the past who are speaking to us again. You know, these times that the last time we went through it was probably the age of Atlantis, 10,500 years, depending on who you want to talk to. But we've been going through these cycles, and it's the reason why I think the majority of us feel like this last year has been kind of the life of Job. I don't know anyone who's not been challenged in one way or another, and we're being tested whether or not we can handle it. Even this year, midsummer, there was a gradual darkening of the planet, a dimness, which they've actually recorded. Whether or not we're going to get the 3 days of darkness, I don't know. That the 3 days, the three wise men, 3 kings, all of these things, threes usually mean something to us, our mind, body, spirit, depending on how you want to look at it. So I think we're actually in the times now, we're physically manifesting our truth. If that's pain, then we get pain. If that's anger, we get anger. We spend a whole lot of time thinking about how bad we feel, but we don't spend a lot of time thinking how good we feel. I don't know who's playing something in the background, guys.
Don Jordan, would you turn your speakers down, please? We're getting a horrible feedback.
Thank you.
Well, that's really interesting, Tracy, what you're saying, because our meditation group is working on the golden grid, and we take all this energy from the earthquakes and we project it from I see a red energy coming up, and I transmute it into a blue, into a golden sphere. And I think we can prevent some of this stuff you're talking about by projecting a positive consciousness back to us from the golden grid and not allowing some of this stuff to occur. Because I really believe that we have way, way more power than we even give ourselves credit for. And we need to use it. We really need to start, facing up to the fact that who we really are as beings. All of us came from other universes. We all came here to experience this Earth experience. And we are aliens. Our high souls are aliens. So why don't we just put all this energy together in Dominion and let the dark forces go to another planet somewhere and work out their own evolution? That's kind of the way I look at it, because I've had experiences where I got these soul groups coming to me of 1,000 souls, or these big orbs are coming to me. They're like 300 or 400 feet in diameter, and they got all these souls in them. And I'm communicating. When I start communicating with an orb, I want to find out who they are and everything. And when I find an orb doesn't answer me as to who they are and where they come from, then I know that it's not a human orb. And I've had them try to trick me. They come in and they kind of mess with me. And I keep dousing it, and I finally discover that they're just here to have fun with the human race to see how they can manipulate us. And once I find that, I kind of get a little stern with them and explain to them that, I'm sorry, you're just messing with the wrong person here, because, I'm here to help souls cross. I'm not here to play games with your galactic friends. And, you're really misrepresenting who you really are to the human race. So would you kindly just go back to the planet that you came from and try someplace else, because we're here to evolve. So I think we just need to be a little bit more assertive with who we are as a human race and what our intentions are. our intentions are here to live in dominion. My last big deal was in Lemuria, and I was like a overseer, spiritual overseer, guardian of 30 goddesses. And I've been back there. As a matter of fact, there's one of them that's here in Kihei that I talk to all the time that was with me. She's a Hawaiian kahuna here. But see, all of that past history is here to teach us a lesson, I think, and that is we are accumulation of past life experiences that we need to learn to go back into earthling like we do in our meditation groups and channel that information, learn about who we used to be, and then we can go up above and find out who we used to be up in our high soul and put that together and become a tremendous dynamic source of energy and healing for our planet. And every one of us that's listening to me out there has that potential if you've already learned how to do it or doing it. So I'm really happy that I can be with a group of people like you that some of you are way, way more advanced than I am. You can do all kinds of stuff more than I can. That's wonderful. Some of you may not even understand that you have the capability of doing so. So I'm here to encourage you to do so. Learn.
Rich, could I, we only have 5 minutes left, I think. I'd like to ask if Rachel can come in. She's just new to the group, but I'd like to have her tell her experience and what she gained.
Sorry.
Sure. What my experience of my opening is, or of working with these types of energies that you're speaking of with the vortex and that. What are you asking, Frank?
Well, just the growth that you experienced just in the last couple of months.
Yeah. I'm new to the group, and I've had my own process where I opened up to what's called the language of light, and I've had all these energies coming, and it's been quite a lot for me to handle. And working with Frank, he's really given me some tools of how I can clear out my space so I can be a clearer channel. And I'm still in process with all of this, but I'm finding that I'm able to clear out through opening these vortexes and clearing out energy that's been in my space, because I went through that chronic fatigue that you're speaking of, because I was dealing with all these energies, not really knowing how to work with it. And working with Frank, it's really helping tremendous, and so that I can bring through my gift with the language of light, which a lot of people are opening up to now. And so I'm not exactly sure what you're wanting me to share.
Just that when you're having all kinds of energies and influences coming into you, you don't understand them. Seek out somebody that's had some experience and can give you a little guidance. And I did not have a teacher, never. But at 5 years old, I knew I was always listening. And so seek out a teacher, somebody who can give you their version of what they think is happening in you and help you to focus. It really does move you along tremendously rapidly. The other thing I'd like to comment on is that I hope to be in Southern California sometime around the end of January, and I'll be doing a workshop there where we can teach people. Well, actually, I have the title of being the healer of the healers, and I want to go and empower the healers to really understand how things work and how to use their energies more efficiently, and how to get into the flows of consciousness that are coming in, and how to understand everything. So just keep in touch with World Spirit or with us on Cytronics.com, and we hope to see some of you there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Frank. So we're still waiting for the next show. Please, if anyone else has anything they want to interject,
yes,
please go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say hello to everybody, and I'm just off out to the gig. I'll be back a few hours. I don't know whether I'll be alone or with company, so that depends on whether I'll see you later or not. But I wish everybody well, and happy solstice, and keep pumping out that light.
Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.
So please, anyone else, what would you like to share?
Go ahead.
Is Catherine on? I don't
No,
think
I
she
don't
is.
think Catherine's
Okay.
on. But Rachel, what is the language of light? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's a lot. I believe there's a lot of people opening up to this gift now, and it's all these ancient languages of sound tones and harmonics, and with it comes a lot of hand signatures and hand mudras, and it does various things from my understanding. And I believe some of us are calling in certain star systems and anchoring it here on the earth. And it also brings in harmonics of a form of remembrance for many others that will, for those that are ready, can open you up to your own language and sounds. And it may sound different than, let's say, my particular one. You'll have your own unique language and sound tones. It does a tremendous amount of healing work as well. And it's quite profound. For me, there was a lot of pyramidal structures. When I opened up to this, I was literally like inside a pyramid, and there's a vortex of energy. And as it moved up my system, and like a kundalini, it shot up into my own capstone and ignited the capstone and shot me out into the heavens. And with it came a sound harmonic, like a volcano erupting. And once this happened, you're just never the same again. And new languages, new tones continuously come, and it's a process. And it was so wonderful to meet Frank at first, because when it first opens up, it's a bit overwhelming for some, and to have this kind of support, because it's just so much energy coming in, and to get it balanced, and then to get your own clarity. This is the work that Frank does that is just so important and so wonderful. But it's just a gift I believe many of us are opening up to. And I believe it's helping with the ascension process.
I would like to submit here, the first time I worked with Rachel over the phone, she called and wanted a session. During the process of working with her and opening her up, the galactic tones began to come in through me and into the computer, and we could both hear the resonance and frequencies coming in. And I feel it's almost happening now. It's just almost there. Once you learn how to tune in and let these frequencies work through you, they develop quite rapidly your gifts and abilities. I think they're actually working on the DNA, bringing perfection back into our bodies. So that's the side benefit of listening to our programs on Wolf Spirit Radio, is every time you listen to a program, these frequencies are coming through and you're being downloaded. And I love it when that happens.
Yeah, this is Teresa, and I've been attending the Earth Mind Think Tank with Frank, and I've also had the opportunity of calling him by phone for healings and advice. And I have found, since I started, it has been one of the most one of the best experiences I've ever had in terms of opening up spiritually and psychically. I've learned so much. I've grown so much.
It's helped me move forward more quickly when I work with Frank.
Yes, and also in terms of healing my body. The work that I've done on myself and from Frank, my body feels 100% better in terms of being healed. It's so mind expanding. I can't encourage people enough. I encourage you to call Frank. To join in on the Sunday night calls. It's like a mystery school of education that is comparable to what I've researched in, friends who have studied Egyptian teachings and different religions, the good stuff that is available and valuable that when we read between the lines. So again, I encourage everyone. I need to scoot out the door, and thank you so very much, Wolf Spirit Radio, for holding this. And I love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Do we have time to listen to Rachel? Probably not.
I think so. Dave said go on, so we are in hold mode now. So, yeah, anyone has something to say, please do.
And what are you asking, Joan?
Well, I would love to listen to your tones.
Oh, the tones. Okay. And then after
but that's up to you.
I would be happy to. And then I have to go because I have some gas coming. So, but I would be happy. I'll bring it through, and I'm going to put it out as a divine heart blessing for the winter solstice for everyone who's listening.
Oh, thank you. That sounds perfect for today.
Hanyena mahale shakatwakilia, homaki atwakilia, jalamakita kahonoma, inje shomokotwakilia. Hanyada honyeho haleho maya, onjeho jeho amo. O momaneia, o lole o maya, ole mana, hanyana mone hanyana, ole 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 ma, ole 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 ma. Holy halemo, injaria de hola makita homolina, onje mor, injele mohaniha, injali boli kari hole honima. Injale inde kuntre hamiatwa, injale mokoria dekori, holia dekomo, hame hona miana, hele leli honi, hele mokomane, hale motwa limatwa, hashala makili adwakini atwakima, injaria dakate ajaramaka, jwakima indwakina maki.